Big banks and crypto companies are busy as of late, seemingly under the radar. This included the likes of Morgan Stanley, Circle, Ripple, Coinage, and even World Liberty Financial. They are applying to get a National Trust Bank charter license from the OCC. Whoa. You might ask, what even is that license and how does it affect my Bitcoin? Well, relax there, mate. Here we will go through why this license matters, why is it being proposed now, and how it can lead to banks owning our private keys. Let's tackle the first question. What even is this license? Well, the National Trust Bank license is issued by the Office of the Controller of Currency, or the OCC. Really great name, by the way. And it makes it possible to hold, manage, and custody assets on behalf of the client, essentially becoming, a custodian bank. This is different from your normal banks, as this type of banks don't have savings and lending systems and won't be doing any of those stuff. Their job is to be just that, a custodian, a holder and manager of assets on behalf of someone else. So these companies are trying to be the next custodian of digital assets. With this license, companies and banks don't need to apply for a custodial license in every state, significantly lowering legal costs and also giving certainty for these companies. So imagine these state-level governments are like paid rides in an amusement park. Each ride has a certain price to the ride and requirements that are different from each other, like being a certain height to ride on a roller coaster, a certain weight to ride on a trapeze, etc. You, as the company, wanted to ride in every ride there is. So you would need to change yourself each time you play a different ride, which is a pain and expensive. Then the amusement park told you, hey, you want to enjoy our rides, right? How about I'll sell you a pass. It's cheaper than paying for each ride, and it gives you a pardon so that you can just use whatever ride you want without any requirements. But to buy it, you need to also complete our amusement park general requirements. So just one requirement task and that's it. That is basically what the national license means. This will make it possible for these companies to serve the entire US market without dealing with troublesome local rules that change every governor. Now, why is it a big deal now? Well, the truth is, for years, fintech companies have utilized a loophole in the system. They don't have the license to operate at the national scale, and asking for licenses for each state is just too costly for them, especially as most of them are startups. So they go to a licensed bank and partner with them, where the bank grants the fintech company access to payment infrastructure and hold customers' funds, while the fintech pays for their service. This model is called sponsored bank model. Well, in the recent years, the federal government didn't like that and tightened the rule, making many banks had to exit the deal entirely from these fintech companies, and some of them are crypto. That is why these kinds of national licenses are now quite lucrative. For now, the 11 companies that had applied to get the license, all of them got the OCC's conditional approval, except for 2, Coinbase and World Liberty Finance, which is still in the application period. But it is expected that they will get it sometime soon. Now, that doesn't mean that they have an operational license. The only crypto-native company that reaches that is Anchorage Digital Bank, while every other firm is still in progress. But although the license is a good thing for these crypto-native companies and for the crypto market in general, crypto industry, these companies still lack access to the Fed payment rails, the infrastructure through which money actually moves in the US, and major banks plan to make it stay that way. The traditional bank is, not having it. They had rejected the Clarity Act because their model said that around $1 trillion will move away from this bank into stable coins with less regulatory oversight. Honestly, I think they care more that they will earn less money rather than, the safety of their clients. But they also move against the OCC, telling them to scrutinize more heavily for crypto-native applications. This is a way to slow down these companies to not compete with them. The banks are fighting back with all their might to slow down regulatory compliance appeal ruling that disadvantaged them, and stopping access to the Fed payment rails to these crypto companies. And I don't blame them. These crypto companies and stablecoin ones as well threaten their business model and profit margins. In an increasingly difficult world, economically speaking, it is something they will defend tooth and nail with. But this leads to a bigger question. What type of compromise can the White House offer to get these bankers agree on the Clarity Act? Surely they will just lobby against anything that disadvantages them, right? This also leads to Bitcoin. I think that the event from OCC opening national bank licenses to crypto companies is a good thing for the asset. But it is also met with strict resistance. Also, the current bear market that Bitcoin is experiencing is still predicted to go on until October at the earliest, meaning that no matter what good news emerge, prices usually will still go down in the short to medium term. But this is bullish in the long run. If the Clarity Act is also passed with the additional help from the OCC approving operational licenses for crypto-native companies, the next bull market might rope in massive institutional players as the regulation had become clearer at that point. But that raises a different question. Wouldn't it destroy Bitcoin's original goal, as an alternative to current modern economic rails and banking system? What happens if the banks and institutions also hold massive amounts of BTC? Comment down below what do you think of that question, and also if you like this video, you might want to check out my other ones where I discuss a new amendment in South Korea forcing crypto influencers to openly share their portfolio content here, or the hidden danger hiding in Bitcoin's economic model here. Stay safe guys, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next time.